The year was 1991. My CAD instructor once told me, create and verify once, copy and reuse after, if you want to be efficient using 2D CAD. Fast forward to the 21st century, I still apply this simple phrase when it comes to SOLIDWORKS part and assembly modeling. But the whole purpose of this video is to answer the question, am I able to apply this simple phrase to existing toolpath that's already been dialed in? And going one step further, I want to create the opposite version of its original toolpath. Still interested? If so, keep watching this cool CAM technical tip on Mirroring Toolpath using CAMWorks and SOLIDWORKS CAM with Paul from GoEngineer. Reusing existing toolpath is accomplished by several different techniques, and all have their unique applications. It all depends on what you want. First, the easy left-click, hold, and drag method while holding down the control key within the mill part setup. Second, taking advantage of pattern creation from the CAM feature tree. Third, create a CAM library object of CAMWorks or SOLIDWORKS CAM mill features and operations. Then reuse that data by inserting it into a different part. Getting back on topic of mirroring toolpath using this part model, one method is from the individual toolpath operation parameters page. Advanced tab, Mirror Group Box. After clicking the checkbox, Mirror Toolpath, multiple options become active depending on what end result is desired, including keeping the original toolpath along with the mirror toolpath, the use of CNC compensation for certain toolpaths by maintaining climb, conventional control, use of X and Y offset values, which defines the additional X and or Y transform numeric values, which is applied after the toolpath or toolpaths have been mirrored. After clicking on Mirror Entity, the Select Axis dialog is now displayed, which is then used to select an entity, in this case an axis to mirror about. Other selected entities include a sketch axis, line entity, or a linear entity. Additionally, if an arc sketch entity or arc edge is selected, the system will mirror about an axis that is normal to the arc and through its center of that selected entity. Speaking of all things normal to, when selecting a reference plane or planar face, the system will mirror about an axis that is normal to the selected entity. The Associate checkbox option includes whether the selected axis entity should be associated to the part vertex, arc edge, or sketch, or not. If associated, then the defined axis will change if the part model changes. The reverse checkbox option applies in cases where the axis controls the tool vector. This option has no effect on a mirrored toolpath since the axis direction is not important to mirroring. For now, I'll utilize these settings and select Preview to see if this is what I want. Select OK to confirm these changes. All that being said, creating individual mirrored toolpath is great, but what if we wanted to take all of these toolpath operations and mirror them globally? Check out this other method. Navigate the mouse cursor back to the Toolpath Operation Parameters page, Advanced tab, Mirror Group Box, and simply check the box Use Setup Definition. This tells the system to use the global mill part setup settings for mirror toolpath. Once done, edit the definition of the mill part setup, then select the Advanced tab from the Part Setup Parameters page and adjust settings as required within the mirror group box for each individual operation. For this example, I'll key in a value for the X offset, select the right plane as my entity to mirror about, and before selecting OK to regenerate all affected toolpaths for this mill part setup, you'll notice the paintbrush icon, which indicates Apply to All. Clicking on this button applies these current settings to all operations to be mirrored. The caveat is if you want to unselect certain operations after the fact, it must be done manually at the individual operation level. It's nice to have options, right? And finally, select OK to regenerate all affected toolpaths for this mill part setup. After the flashing and dashing is done, I'll visually check all of my toolpaths by hovering over each toolpath operation to ensure I have its mirrored version. Everything looks great. For those of you looking for an interactive experience from the NC code itself, Mirroring Toolpaths is accomplished from the CAM NC editor. With a given NC file open, click on the NC Functions tab, then the Mirror button. Whichever method is used, it is imperative that you review the final output of your NC code so it's safely compatible for your individual application. So, we now know that mirroring toolpaths in mill mode is available from the individual operation level as well as at the mill part setup level. But the last burning question you're probably thinking is, what types of toolpath can be used for mirroring? That's a great question. So here's the answers. All 2.5 axis mill operations, all 3-axis mill operations, excluding CAMWorks Legacy 3-axis rough and Legacy 3-axis finish operations. And the last operations that can be mirrored are multi-axis machining operations. And that is a brief look at how easy it is to mirror toolpaths using CAMWorks and SOLIDWORKS CAM. Thank you all so much for watching. Now, if you have any questions about what I had just talked about, let us know. If you find this short video helpful, leave us a comment, hit like, and subscribe. This is Paul with GoEngineer. Thanks for watching.